No one dreamed that the little bit of a hurricane that they had in Florida would do what it did to Louisiana.
And when the buses started coming on that Tuesday, they just kept coming. They did not stop.
Those buses were on their way here, the Cajundome Marina in Lafayette, Louisiana. Floodwaters following Hurricane Katrina had forced thousands of weary, overwhelmed New Orleans residents from their homes. Many found themselves 120 miles west in Lafayette. The Cajundome, designed to seat 12,000 for an event, would soon become home to 18,500 storm victims, a massive influx equal to 16% of the city's population.
At the time our first evacuees started arriving, there were no supplies. We didn't have any cots or blankets or pillows.
When we finally did get out, we ended up on the I-10 bridge around the St. Bernard exit.
They rescued us and so wound up taking the bus to the Cajundome.
And it wasn't a couple of buses. The buses just kept coming.
And it grew to the point where the needs of the evacuees were far greater than our ability to service those needs.
They were hungry and they were thirsty. Many were still in the same clothes that they had been in on the roofs of houses in New Orleans.
They were also exposed to a variety of things wading through water. As immunocompromised patients, they had cuts, they had bruises, they had all these things that really needed immediate attention that we had to figure out a way to treat pretty quickly.
We had people that were diabetics that hadn't had their medicine in 3 days.
We had lots of people in the Cajundome and more coming that were in desperate need of medical care.
We also knew that meant there would be people with chronic conditions and exacerbated chronic conditions because of what they had been through already.
When I got to Lafayette, I had the clothes that I had on, my cell phone, and my wallet. That was it. I didn't have a change of underwear, or any of that. Toothbrush, nothing.
I can remember feeling dirty, confused, shocked, scared.
These were people simply trying to survive a tragedy. And shame on us if we, fellow Louisianians, were going to treat them as refugees.
The Cajundome was certainly not set up as the ideal place for a medical clinic, but it was amazing how quickly this group came together. What physicians would do is they would take their entire supply closets, clean everything out, and just arrive with large bags and say, here, use this for whoever you can use it for.
We had children who arrived here with no parents, pretty terrified.
In our sheltering operation, about 50% were children. And we also knew that they were going to be with us for several weeks.
I did not think in my wildest dreams that this thing would go 58 days.
Per day, we needed about 300 to 500 people to run this shelter.
And the initial medical clinic for the Cajundome was the closet that the EMTs use for sporting events. Big enough for one bed, tucked down on the bottom floor, and it wasn't going to be adequate for very much.
We were just woefully unprepared for this.
And I remember Buddy Azar looking the sheriff and the mayor in the eye and telling people, if we don't do something about it now, people are gonna die. And we do not want people dying on our watch.